Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. If you haven't been here before, my name's Sarah, married to Mark. We have 8 kids at home, and we have been homeschooling for 23 years. So this is part 1 of questions and answers from some of the videos I've been making about homeschooling. So in this video, somebody asked me what they would do asked about what I would do if any of my kids asked to go to school. There was also a separate question asking if we had a Christian school available, would we use it? And those two questions go very much together in my mind. I do think that if you do not have an option to homeschool, that Christian school is a better option than public school. But I'll try to explain my thought process. I would need to do a list of pros and cons for what would be good for my child at the moment. For us, being able to be the primary discipler of my children is very important. I'm going to alternate between us and me when I'm saying these things because this is the same thought my husband has. But I'm the one saying it, so you're going to hear me. Sometimes I'll say us. It's not that he doesn't think these same things. We've had all these conversations. So for us, it is very important that our kids are getting a Christian worldview in all of the subjects that are taught. That would be math, that would be science, that would be logic. But also that we have the opportunity to teach our children our family values, which are biblical Christian values, how we see the world in light of Scripture. And we can do this outside of school time. So if you are somebody who has to send your children to school, is sending your children to school, this discipleship happens when your children are in your home with you. They are looking at what your worldview is when you talk about news, when you're doing your dishes. Are you doing it grumbling and complaining, or are you doing it with a joyful heart? They are seeing all of that in the time they're spending with you. But when your children are home with you, you get a lot more opportunities to do this. In Deuteronomy, it talks about training your children in the way, sorry, that's not Deuteronomy, that is Psalm. Train your children in the ways they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from them. In Deuteronomy, it talks about teaching your children as you walk by the way, when you rise up, when you lie down. So I think it's important that these things are being taught large amounts of your day. So homeschooling, I get to do that, large chunks of our day. But then I also would look at the pros and cons of this individual child. So I'm talking like for all of my children, it's important that I'm the main discipler, but for the individual child. So we have 3 children who have already graduated. We have 4 children who have already taken driver's ed. And that's the point I'm going to talk about. I don't really remember all my thoughts behind my oldest taking driver's ed. I was pregnant with Josiah at the time. There was a lot of stuff going on in the home, and I just don't remember my thought process behind it. So I don't want to add to that. But each of our kids took driver's ed at a different point of age. And it was because that's what was best for the family, and that's what was best for them at the moment. Virginia is now 23. She took driver's ed immediately upon turning 15. Like the driver's ed class actually started a day later than they were going to because she was turning 15 and you can't take the class until 15. And because they hadn't set all the dates up, they ended up starting it on her 15th birthday. So she was able to take that class. It was very important for us for her to get her driver's license, her permit, and then her driver's license, because we were not, we were a 1 driver family. Mark was not able to drive anymore because of his disability. Being able to get everyone to doctor's appointments and everything was necessary. And also Virginia was a very attentive, patient, considerate person who we felt would do very well in driving. Like she mentally, physically was capable of passing a driving test, if that makes sense. Not that she had ever driven, but that we felt that she would be able to do the class, do well. At that time, we also had to really consider, because this was before COVID, And so it was in-person driving tests, like driving instruction. And Virginia was mature enough to be in that classroom setting with students that we did not know, to be taking classes where we felt she could discern the right things to do in all of that. So that would have been different for a different child, could have been different for a different child. Our next child down was Naomi. Naomi, we did not need another driver as quickly as we needed Virginia. We were in the midst of traveling in the winters, which made finding the time to take the class harder. And it was after COVID, so there were some weird things about doing it online and everything. And we waited until I don't remember exactly how old she was. She did not start on her 15th birthday though. She was a little bit older, and it was because that was what was best in our family's timing, but also in the timing for when she should take it. Samuel was 15 and a half, I think, when he took his driving test or driver's ed. So in the state of Maine, you have to take your driver's ed before you can drive in a car, before you can go get your license. Every state is different. But for Samuel, we waited till he was like 15 and a half. One, for family needs. We had already planned a vacation and we needed to go around that. One, just for his confidence level. Different kids are different. And I really felt Samuel needed to get the experience of driving on nice roads. So taking it in the spring, summer, or fall as opposed to a winter class. And so by the time we were able to sign him up and get all the things going, he was like 15 and a half, and it worked out well for him. I think if you were to sit down for each of your kids and say, what are the pros and cons of them going to school? Each one might be a little different. Sorry, the microphone was itchy. Each one would be a little different. You might have a child who would handle the stresses of public school okay, like deadlines and that type of thing, but they might not be able to handle the social nature of school very well. And I'm not saying that that's anything wrong with your child. Some kids just need to be home longer with a parent to feel confident in themselves. So putting your child into something where they can do the work, but they're not able to socially assimilate to the thing is going to make them have problems with doing the work because they're struggling with this other aspect. The nice thing about homeschooling is that I can help them through all of that at the same time. They don't have to go to school where there could be bullying or a teacher that is not helping them well or those types of things. I also think a lot of people think because this isn't a bad decision, like going to a Christian school is not a sinful decision. And so you can sometimes look at something and say, no, I can't go do that thing because it's sinful. If something's not sinful, that doesn't necessarily mean it's profitable for you and your family. Going to a Christian school has all the issues of having to deal with a different teacher, having to deal with different students, and all of that. But there's also the issue of your family and time. If your child is going to school for 6 hours a day, that's 6 hours a day that you're not being able to disciple them. You're not able to teach them the things that are important to your family culture. You're not able to spend time showing them how to talk kindly to the sibling or the friend. You're not having the time to just enjoy them being kids. So that's, let's say, 6 hours of class. That's 6 hours that you're not seeing them. You then also have the transportation back and forth. So even if the school is close, our closest Christian school is about 15 minutes away. So that means every day I would have to have an extra half hour of them in the car and an extra hour of me in the car transporting people back and forth. So we now are at 7 hours, well, 6.5 hours that the kids are not at home where we can focus on these things that we wanted to focus on. You then have the stressor of having to get kids up at a certain time of day and having to get their bags packed, having to get the right clothes on, because some schools have like a school uniform. Well, what if I can't find my socks? What if I can't find the right shirt? So you're just adding a stress to that and having everybody get out the door at the right time. I find it difficult to be a happy, enjoyable mom when I'm stressed that I'm trying to get everybody's shoes on. Not that I'm physically putting their shoes on, but trying to make sure everybody is out the door at the exact time, makes for not joy-filled great mornings, because everybody is stressed trying to get their things together. Or you have the siblings who are stressed because this one child is way behind and these guys are ready to go and this one's not. And it just causes family strife in all of those trying to get everybody out the door. Then you get home and you have homework. So if I sent the kids off to school who are grade level right now, like would be in school in Maine, I have 5 of them that would be going out the door. So that means when they come home, I have 5 people's homeworks that I have to supervise, and I have to make sure that this one is getting an hour or 2 hours worth of time to be able to get their homework done while I'm trying to get this one to do their 15 minutes worth of homework or whatever. And now my day has been filled. So let's say we're 6.5 hours we talked about. So let's say their school starts at 8. I need to leave the house by, let's say, 7:40 to make sure they get there. So we're leaving at 7:40. School goes from 8 to 2. Takes us 15 minutes to get home. So if I get them right on time, we get home at 2:15. We leave an hour or 2 for homework. So we are now 4:15. I also have to make supper. I also have to wash laundry, like whatever they wore for the day. Yes, I'm home, but if they wore something that day that needs to get in the laundry for tomorrow, they brought home their gym clothes that need to go back, that type of thing. I now have the door, I think it was the wind, the door slammed. So 4:30, now I'm trying to make supper and all of that stuff. I have not had time to enjoy my children, like to pour into my children. There's also then the question of how do we fellowship with other people and spend time as families with other families? Because if my kids are gone all day, I want the opportunity to spend time with them before I have to put them off to bed. But if we've now been invited to dinner, okay, they get home, we have to get homework done, we're busy till 4:30. Then we go to someone's house for supper. So we're gone from home, let's say 5 to 7. Then I have to hurry up, rush everyone in pajamas so we can get going the next day. That means I haven't had any individual time with my kids. I know people wonder, how do you get individual time when you have 8 children in the house? Well, the thing is, I have all the waking hours of the day to give them that individual time. So let's say 6:30, we wake up. That's our wake up time. I get to start investing in them right then. And I invest in them till 7 o'clock when I put littles to bed, 8 o'clock when Samuel goes to bed, 9 o'clock when Naomi goes to bed. People get their time because I have an abundance of time to give, not because I'm trying to squeeze the individual time into small hours. So I would not, if I had the chance, send them to a Christian school, because there's so many things I would lose out on, that having the idea of just having someone else plan out the curriculum isn't a positive to me. If I was somebody who didn't want to plan out the curriculum, I'm a mom who likes to decide this thing for this person, whatever. But if I was a mom who didn't like to do that planning out of the curriculum, I would just buy a curriculum that says, okay, you open this for your 4th grader today, you do pages 5 through 7 in your math book, and you do pages 13 through 15 in your English book. There's stuff like that out there that's from a Christian basis that I could just set all the kids down and have them do that. So that aspect of having to be in charge of their education, somebody else would be like making up the curriculum for me and doing that part of the work. So that could still be done at home. There's also the idea of, like with a Christian school, the money aspect of it. For the money it would take to send our children to Christian school, we would probably qualify for scholarships, but I don't know. But there'd be 5 of them going to school. So I'm assuming that we'd have to put some money into the kids going to school, even if we were able to get scholarships. I spend Mark's in here right now. Hold on. Mark, how much do you think we spend over the course of the year on our educational stuff? I would include like paper and printer in that and things like that. Plus books we buy and a couple $100.
Well, maybe things like include things like Brilliant. Like
yeah.
This year we've done more.
Oh yeah. So
we bought Samuel specific.
Every year we do different things. So yes, I would say on a typical year we spend 300 to 500, possibly up to 1,000 if we're looking for a specific course, or like, oh, this year we bought the printer, like that type of thing. I would say it could be up to $1,000, but that's including a lot of different. Yeah, that's with 5 students. That's like all of them together. Maybe up to $1,000 depending on what we're doing. If we're buying specific courses and stuff, it would cost more than $1,000 to send my 5 kids to Christian school. Then you have
4,000 in one of them.
Okay, our local. I was saying we could.
I think it's 38 something.
Okay,
like 4,000.
Mark thinks it's 4,000 for one student, and then you get a reduction on the other students. But Mark, I was saying there's probably scholarships available, but we'd still have to pay more than the 1,000 that I'm spending here on homeschooling.
Gas.
Yeah, there'd be gas, there'd be food, because we would have to buy different food. So I would have things to, like right now, Samuel went for a job shadow the other day, and he took this little Titanic lunchbox that we had that had been given to us, like we had won it at a thing at the Titanic Museum. The Titanic Museum booth at the homeschool conference. That was the only lunchbox we have in the house because Daddy doesn't work, so he doesn't take a lunch with him anywhere. No one else in the family goes anywhere for lunches, so I would have to purchase all of those things for the kids. So we'd have to purchase lunchboxes, we'd have to purchase backpacks, we'd have to purchase whatever clothing is necessary for school, because a lot of schools have like a dress code uniform type thing. Gas back and forth every day. All of those things would add up. Plus, then you'd have like, yes, I'm home during the day, but with all the driving and things, there might be convenience foods to buy. Lots of different things happening. So financially, it just doesn't make sense to send them to Christian school. So there's a lot of different things. Also, when I'm home with them homeschooling, I get to pick which curriculum we use. I get to pick the things that they're interested in. So all of that to say, would I send them to Christian school if I had the choice? No. My parents actually offered multiple years ago when we first started homeschooling to send our one student to Christian school. I was raised public school. My parents didn't know what homeschooling was. This wasn't a bad thing that they were offering. They were trying to help. And even then I was like, no, it makes more sense for us to teach them at home because we get to instill our values in them. So then the other question was, what do I do if my children desire to go to school? I have only had one child that has expressed a desire to go to school, and that was our oldest. He is now 30. And to be fair, he only went to school for kindergarten and first grade. So once we brought him home, and I actually started making him work, because in the public school, he couldn't hear very well. So he was being taken out a lot to do therapy, which in kindergarten and first grade level is a lot of play. And for my kids who are that age, we do a lot of play too. But once you start getting to second, third, fourth grade, things start to get harder. And that's how it's supposed to be. So for him, what he had for a remembrance of public school was, we go and we play and I get to see my friends all the time. And so he wanted to go back to that, which, of course, we want to go to the easy thing. That makes sense. None of the other kids have been to school. They have never shown a desire to go to school. And the kids actually see the school bus go past our road and they call it the indoctrination bus, because we've explained to them what happens in public school. And I know I'm going to have some people that watch this video right now and they're like, oh, you're just tainting your kids' views. Yep, I am brainwashing them. Because public school is not, I'm okay that my kids are going to miss prom so that they can hear what we need to about what education.
My kids learned that from this book.
So there are some really good books out there about what God tells you to do with education. Israel Wayne has a book, Education. Do you remember what Israel's book is? It's something about education because does God have an opinion on that? This book, Indoctrination, is written. There's a lot of good stuff in this book. Samuel just read this for school, but it's Public Schools and the Decline of Christianity. It's by Colin Gunn and Joaquin Fernandez. So, there's a whole bunch of other people quoted in here. Contributors include R.C. Sproul Jr., Ken Ham, Doug Phillips, Bodie Bauckham, E. Ray Moore Jr., Kevin Swanson, Israel Wayne, John Taylor Gatto, Samuel Blumenfeld, Erwin Lutzer, other people. So, this is a good book. But no, my children have never wanted to do that. My children do like to play with other children, and we go to places where we can do that. But they don't have to do it in a classroom setting where they are sitting and learning whatever the school system thinks they need to learn that day. I can teach them what I think they need to learn that day. And some days, we actually had this morning with two of our little ones. Some days, the most important lesson of the day is diligence and doing hard things. It doesn't have to do with what the actual schoolwork is. That doing hard things for one child might be writing their spelling words. For another child, that doing hard things might be 7-digit division, but working through it even when it's hard, even when those tears want to come and you're like, yep, okay, so let's get past this. Let's say, you know what, this is hard and I'm going to keep working. Some days the lesson is in compassion for other people. Some days it's a little more life skills because something's happening in the house and we need you to step up to help with something. Some days it's some major project we have, but I get to decide what is the school lesson for today, not the school lesson is 5 plus 5. Because for me, the 5 plus 5 is not that big a deal on the grand scheme of things. Are they going to learn 5 plus 5 over the course of their kindergarten, first grade year? Yep, they are. But today might not be the day for that. And I know my children best. So, yes, they've never expressed a desire. If they were to express a desire, I would explain to them what a public school day would look like because our homeschool day is very different than what a public school day looks like. They would have to be ready to, and I've even seen parents who have like, Mark came in the room dancing. They would have to be ready at a certain time of day. They would have to eat when they were told to eat. They would have to go to the bathroom when they were told to go to the bathroom. They would have to sit and do their math. And if they got done with their math, they would have to sit there bored while everyone else finished their math. In our house, if you finish your math, you can go run around outside. That doesn't happen in public school. I mean, or Christian school. That's true. Mark was just saying Mark's disability, he's worse in the evening. He starts crashing about 4. So that timetable that I gave you, so they come home at 2:15. They get to spend maybe an hour with daddy actually being a normal human being. And then the rest of the night, daddy's not a normal human being. And they would also then have to do their homework later because they decided to spend time with their dad instead. So there's a lot of things that are benefits for homeschooling. And a lot of reasons why I would not send my kids to Christian or public school. Most of it has to do with just the amount of time I would lose with my children. And that would make me very, very sad. So I make these videos, I do them unedited because I want to go out and spend some time with my kids. So when I have a chance, because they're doing something that's enjoyable to them and fun, I come make a video and then I go and actually just invest in them. So we will see you guys next time on Hurting Little Cows to the Glory of God. Bye.